Hello all, I'm King John and you're you, and you're awesome. I'm glad President Trump is negotiating with Putin. I really am, and I would like to talk about why, because, well, there are some things I think that some people just don't think about, which I will explain. Now, a little before President Trump's inauguration to his second term, I put out a video in which I said that his campaign promises aside, Trump would not end the Ukraine war in 24 hours, but that I thought he had a good chance of ending it. This was predicated on the idea that Putin would want peace, and I added the caveat that we had no way of knowing what was going on in the Kremlin, which could easily sink any peace plan. About half a year later, I think it is pretty clear that Putin does not want peace. To the point, in fact, of directly challenging NATO, as we have recently seen in Poland. I am convinced for a while now that the only way to deal with Putin, other than World War III, is to give Ukraine all the support they need to hold off the Russian army while Russia's economy continues to collapse until Putin either flees the country or is killed. However, I am still glad that Trump has continued to negotiate with Putin for two reasons. Before I say these, though, I want to add that although Trump entered into talks with Putin with perhaps some naivete, in the past few months, Trump has been very harsh with Putin, enforcing ever more strict sanctions, especially the secondary sanctions that the Biden regime never initiated. The first reason I'm glad that Trump has continued with negotiating with Putin is that every single time Trump has offered Putin a sweet deal only for Putin to throw it away has only convinced more and more people that Putin is, in fact, the problem. Many people who didn't care or were even pro-Russian have spoken out against Putin, denouncing him as the aggressor. J.D. Vance and Ben Shapiro, for a couple examples. Now, whatever harsher measures may be necessary to deal with Putin, America is far more united in opposition to him than it could ever have been otherwise. The second reason I'm glad that Trump has negotiated with Putin is that although continuing the war seems to be the only way to deal with Putin, every day of this war, an average of something around 2,000 people have died. If this war goes on, we have no idea how long it will be. How much death, pain, and misery will be inflicted. I am glad that the man chosen by the American people to lead their country is spending so much time and effort to stop the killing. Even though he is ridiculed for it. Even though it's probably impossible. I'm glad that Trump is trying. Now I want to address you with a few, what's the word? Not caveats. Well, I forget the word. I'm not saying you need to like Trump. I'd never say that. There are things about him I don't like. I'm not saying you're not allowed to criticize the way he's handled the war in Ukraine. I've criticized some things he's done. But, we are in an imperfect world filled with imperfect people doing their imperfect best. And I think it is important to recognize and to call out things that we see as good. And I see Trump as trying to stop the killing as good. But of course, you are free to disagree, and I would like to hear from you if you do. Please comment below and talk to me. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And until then, have a good night and God bless.